Fundamentals of Chinese 1. This is the grammar lesson for Unit 7. This is page 70 in your textbook. So the first piece there on that page is numbers from 1 to 100. So you've learned 1 to 10. And here we have what 1 to 100 looks like. So you have 0, which is Ling, and you have the numbers 1 through 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then numbers, the teen numbers up to 20 are simply made by taking the character for 10 over here and then placing any of the numbers 1 through 9 after it. So you have 11 for 11, 12 for 12, 13 for 13. Again, it's just taking 10 and then putting any number from 1 to 9 after it to get 11 to 19. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So going from 11 to 19 is as simple as that. 20 is putting a number from 20 is putting 2 before 10. So you have 2 and then 10. 20, that's 20. And then from 21 to 29 is 21. So you just put the E right after it. 22, 22, 23, 23, and so on, all the way up to 29, which is 29. And then 30, you just change this number before the 10 here to a 3. And it's like saying 310. 30, that's 30. And then 31, 32, 33, and so on. All the way up to 90. So for 90, you would have 90, 90, the 9 before the 10. And then 91, you'd have 91, 92, 93, and so on. All the way up to 100. 100 is 100. Bai means 100, so 100 is 100. And then incidentally, 100 is 100, and 200 is 200, 300 is 300, 400 is 400, and so on, all the way up to 900, which is 900. And then if you wanted to say something like 916, if you want to say like 922, you would say 922, 922. So those are the numbers. All right, dates and times. So the Chinese week starts on a Monday, and the expression here, which is 星期, so 星期 is the word for week, and 星期几 is the question that's used to ask which day of the week is it. So for example, if you weren't sure that today was Thursday, you would ask someone, you would say 今天 today, 今天星期几, and then you respond. The answer comes by taking out this question word. 几 is the question word. 星期几, 几 is the question word. You just take that out and replace it with the answer. 四 for Thursday, 星期四. Okay. There are a couple other words used for week. So just like 星期, 礼拜, 礼拜 is also used. And it's a little more colloquial than 星期, like spoken on the street. So 礼拜四 would be Thursday as well. There are two words for Sunday. 星期日 and 星期天 both mean Sunday. And they use them interchangeably. Here they're pointing out that 星期日 is used more in written, whereas 星期天 is used more in spoken Chinese. Okay, and then they're pointing out here that 星期 and 礼拜 are common in spoken Chinese. 周 is a third word for week, and it's usually used in written Chinese. So Thursday could be called 周四. So there's three ways you could say Thursday. You could say 星期四. You could say 礼拜四. You could also say 周四. Just remember the most common is 星期, 星期, so 星期四, for example, and then 礼拜, for Thursday, for example, 礼拜四. There's a chart in your book on 72, a table here that you can turn to and look at that shows all of the days of the week, the 3 ways of saying it. Take a look at this sign real quick. Can you tell what day this store is closed? They're pointing out a specific day where the store is closed. And if you guessed right here, 星期日. 星期日 is Sunday. And this word here means 休息, means to rest. So they rest on Sundays. The months are also a piece of cake in Chinese. The word for month is 月, okay? And then the months are in the same order as ours. There's 12 months in a year in the Gregorian calendar. The Chinese use our Gregorian calendar, and they also use the lunar calendar, but they use our calendar as well. And January is simply month 1 month. February is simply 2 month. Second month, for example, March is basically 3rd month. So 1月 January, 2月 February, 3月 March, 4月 April, 5月 May, and so on, all the way up to 12月, which is December. So if you can count to 12 in Chinese and you can say the word 月 for month, then you now know how to say January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November, and December. Days of the month are spoken using hao. Okay. In written Chinese, 日 is usually always used. Okay. So February 5th would be 2月5号, February 5th. In the written form, it would be 2月5日, February 5th. So pretty simple. 年 is the word for year, and it always follows the number. So for example, 1786 is 1786年. 2015 is 2015年. Okay, the word order for dates is a bit different than in English. So usually we might say, Wednesday, July 26, 2015. In Chinese, they're going to say the year first. They're going to say 2015年, and then they're going to say the month, 7月. Then they're going to say the date, 26号, and then they're going to say what day of the week, 星期三. Okay, so year, month, day, and then the day of the week. And in the spoken Chinese, it's this way as well. So you'll want to memorize that. On page 74, there's a date here clipped from a Chinese newspaper. So this is 2004年7月13日星期二. So 2004, July 13th, and it's Tuesday. All right, telling time in Chinese. The terms used to tell time are 点 and 点钟, and 半 and 刻 and 分. So this is 点 is like a clock, like saying a clock. 半 is for the half hour. 刻 is for the quarter hour. 分 is for minutes. 分. So 2 o'clock here you have 2点, or 2点钟, you could also say 2点. 11 o'clock you have 11点. Okay, let's mix it up. Here we have 12:40. So we say 12点40, and it's 40分, right? 40 minutes, but you can take out the 分. So 12点40, 2点05. Okay, that would be 2:05. Then you have 5点20, so that's 5:20, and you have 8点50, that's 8:50. Remember to add ling before a single digit number. So if it's 5:10, you can say 5:10. But if it's 5:08, like we add the O, they add the ling. So it'd be 5:08. 5:08. Here's some practice with the quarter hour. So this is right here 2:01, 2:15. This is 11:03, which would be 11:45. Here we have 2:30, which would be 2:30, and here we have 12:30, which is 12:30. Now look at these two clocks here, 北京几点 and 纽约几点. Right? What time is it in Beijing and what time is it in New York? It looks like in both places this clock looks like a little off, but it looks like in both places it's 9:20. Well, it's 在北京是9:20，在纽约是8:20。When it's evening, they like to throw this 晚上 before saying the time. So if it's 7 p.m. or 7 in the evening, they say 晚上7点, evening 7 o'clock. 晚上7点，晚上8:05， right? 晚上9:01，晚上10:30. Okay? So if it's the evening, they usually stick the word evening, 晚上 before the time. Just as you learned that "de" is a way of showing possession, like 我的妈妈. Okay, now here's an exception: is you can omit it when it's used to indicate a personal close relationship. So instead of saying 我的妈妈 or 我的弟弟, Chinese are apt to say 我妈妈 or 我弟弟, 我们家. Right? Otherwise, "de" is required. Okay, for example, my birthday, 我的生日, or his doctor, 他的医生. Here they're pointing out the structure of a sentence that you learned, 我请你吃饭, right here, 我请你吃饭. Okay, I invite you out to dinner. I will treat you to dinner. So ni is the object here. It's me that's inviting you to do something, in this case to eat. That's about it. 明天李先生请你吃中国菜, right? Mr. Li is inviting you to have Chinese food tomorrow. Here we've got 今天晚上我请你和你妹妹吃美国菜怎么样? So we have, how about if I invite you and your younger sister to have American food tonight? Okay, so this phrase is used to invite someone to dinner or treat someone to dinner. Now, one thing I want to point out is when you learn the verb take, okay, Chinese have a verb for take, and in English we say to take someone out to dinner. I'm going to take my parents out to dinner, going to take my wife out to dinner, going to take some friends out to dinner. This is the verb that we use when we're going to treat someone to dinner. We take someone out to dinner. But if you use the Chinese verb for take, which is 拿, for example, and you say 我拿你吃饭, no one is going to understand what you're saying in Chinese. So they're going to have no idea what you're trying to say. It makes no sense. So remember, for Chinese, when you're taking someone out to dinner or treating someone out to dinner, you must use 请 or 请你吃饭. You cannot use the Chinese equivalent of our verb take. Okay, you learned how to offer alternative questions. Is it this or is it that? Okay? Is it A or is it B? Okay, so you learned the structure 是还是. So here are some examples. 你是中国人还是美国人? Are you American or Chinese? Okay, pretty simple. Here are some more examples. 你哥哥是老师还是学生? Is your older brother a teacher or student? Here we have 你请我吃饭还是他请我吃饭? Okay, 是你请我吃饭还是他请我吃饭? Who is taking me to dinner, you or he? Are you taking me to dinner or is he taking me to dinner? Here we have a conversation. 他是喜欢吃中国菜还是喜欢吃美国菜？他喜欢吃中国菜还是喜欢吃美国菜？ Does he like to eat Chinese food or American food? And the answer is 中国菜，美国菜他都喜欢。Okay, so he's saying 中国菜、美国菜他都喜欢。Okay, he likes Chinese food and American food. And that concludes this